Hi, I'm Sharon Spangler. Welcome to this Council Connection. I'm here at City Hall with Councilmember Dave Aiazzi, and we're going to talk a little bit about downtown Reno. And a lot has gone on in the last several years, despite the downturn in the economy, to bring residents down here and businesses. We now have residents living in the condominium projects, and there are some problems arising from that because you've got residents and you've got lots of bars that have popped up in downtown Reno. So there's some issues now between the conflicts and issues between the residents and the bar owners and the bar patrons. And how bad do you think it's getting?
Well, depending on the weekend, it could be really bad or it could be really easy. But it's not just about the new residents coming in. I mean, as more bars and that kind of stuff comes in downtown, you have the people at Arlington Towers that have had some difficulties, and particularly because of the success of some of the bars. And one of the offshoots of this is the smoking rule. You know, outside the Imperial, I used to get a lot of complaints about people milling around outside, but because they can't smoke inside. So everybody's outside at 2 o'clock in the morning smoking. But there's also a lot of bars downtown who've sort of always been a problem, and now it's just coming to a head. We'd like them to clean up their operation. Well, one thing, you know, and a lot of people really honestly don't know this, is it's illegal to walk around with a drink in your hand in downtown. Some people think it's okay. Some of the bar owners will just let people out of their bar and walk around downtown so that those people get a ticket. So it's the city of Reno that looks bad when they should be a little bit more responsible to say, you know, don't take your drink outside, you might get a ticket for this, or the police will stop you, and that's been some grief. Or there's a fight inside the bar and it goes outside the bar. And this happens between 1 and 5 in the morning. So that's the time frame that the police department tells us it's getting really rough. Well, that may be what we're going to come to. I'm trying to get us to see legally whether what we can do is an escalation of problems. So right now it's 24 hours, but if you have so many, you know, fights in your bar or something, then you have to close at 4. If you have some more, you have to close at 2 until you start having a security plan for your bar that will help clean up the problems that you're creating downtown. I mean, some of the bars had over 100 police calls. That's just a drain on everyone else paying for them to be in business. Yeah, that could be part of it too, because you don't really want to penalize the people who are operating well, and a vast majority of bars do. We're talking, you know, of a minimum number of people downtown that are causing the grief. So finding people who do things incorrectly is the way to go. Right now we don't really have a way to really hit them hard in the pocketbook, and some things like maybe take away your liquor license for a couple days. That would help.
That would hurt a lot.
That would hurt a lot. Right. I mean, for whatever reason, it generates a lot of police calls, and the police have to respond. And just like anywhere else in town, if there's one entity that's really causing a lot of grief, you've got to go after them. And like anywhere else, it's 5% of the people cause 95% of the problems.
On the other side of it, though, I think it's a positive that we actually have people who are living, working, and playing in downtown Reno, and people are coming downtown to have an evening of fun.
Exactly. You know, and there. Even then, of the people downtown, even a vast majority of them in the bars aren't causing the trouble. It's usually only a couple people, but I think it relates to how much security those bars should be having, and how having a security plan to work with the police department so they know how to handle it. You know, you just can't go to university and hire a big guy to be your bouncer. They should know what happens. You know, if something medical happens, what do you do? If a fight starts, who do you call? How does that happen? And that's part of being proactive. I think what we're trying to get them to do is be proactive with the police department and with the city.
So at this point, nothing has happened as far as any rules being put into place, and the police department is going to put together a group that's going to represent the bar owners and the residential community and others who are interested in getting involved and trying to come up with a solution that's going to work for everyone.
Right, a couple things, small things that we are putting in place. There's going to have to be signs by every door to say if you take your drink outside, you will be fined. I think people should have fair warning. You know, visitors from out of town don't understand that they can't bring a drink outside. If the bar lets them, they think it's okay.
That's part of the ordinance that,
Yes.
that you had a first reading on it. This
Correct.
is an ordinance that imposes, what, 3 new things to the liquor license, which is a privileged license.
Correct. And that's the big difference. People, it's a privileged license, a privilege to have an alcohol license. So with that should come a little bit more responsibility.
And so one of those things is, you know, the sign by the door, no, you can't take your drink out. What are the other 2 things that they're doing?
There was one that we want them to go through some training, the bartenders. And I know the universities has a program where they can even help you pay for the training if you involve their program. They're trying to run a program through where people who would be designated drivers would get like free drinks and maybe free hamburgers at certain places, free non-alcoholic drinks, of course. But if you agree to do that, they will help you pay for that training for your bartenders. So that's how we're hoping to get all those things working together.
Great. Anything else you want to add on this subject? Are you taking feedback from citizens?
Yeah, I'd love to hear from what people have to say about this. If you've been downtown, you think it's working fine, that's one thing. If you think it's horrible, anything you think that the city of Reno can change through an ordinance, remembering that any ordinance change we make applies to everyone in the city, and that's what we have to be careful about, because there's problems with the few bars downtown. You don't want to penalize the ones, you know, up in the Northwest who don't have any problems. So our laws have to be pretty much citywide, so we try to be very careful about what we do.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you all for joining us in this Council Connection.